like to start actually this presentation. I'm really happy to be here. I was really excited about this conference live, but anyway, this also works. It's great that we are all healthy and happy, so it's better to be that way, and just appreciate that. Today I'm here to talk a bit more about the customer experience and automation using chatbots. And hopefully I'll prove to all of you that there are chatbots out there that can actually be helpful and fun to communicate with. And I'd like to start with talking a bit more about the philosophy kind of things and about the relationship in general. And the question that I really like to ask ourselves and myself is, how do we build this successful relationship between two people, right? How do we build a successful relationship, healthy relationship with our loved ones? And I really love this quote by Tony Gaskins that said that communication to a relationship is like oxygen for life. Without it, it dies. And I truly believe that that's exactly correct, and that's the right phrase, because I don't imagine that I can build a good friendship with someone and have a best friend that I never communicate with. And I believe this is so true. And I think that this phrase is not only true for the personal relationship in your personal life, but also true in business. Because at the end of the day, when you have your customers and you kind of try to sell them something or hear something from them, it's all about building the relationship, the same relationship, and communicating well. So that's why I believe that communication is the key to the customer's heart, right? And that's how the good relationship are being built. And I'd like to start with a short kind of journey of how this relationship and communication between the businesses and the customers were changing within the time, right? So I'll start with this man and the bill, right, in the 1980s. So it was pretty easy back then, I'll say, and the business customer communication was really straightforward, really personal, whereas the customer, I would simply go out there to the restaurant or to the retail store to buy something. I would meet the nice waiter or the salesperson that would let me know more about the specific product that I want to buy, right? I can have some good anecdote exchange with the waiter, etc. It was all really personal, all nice for the businesses. They can meet the clients right there, see their reactions, and as well build this personal relationship and have the customers that would come back, right? But then what would happen is that this kind of relationship and communication is, I believe, is really good, but it was not that easy to scale for the business, right? And for the clients, well, I don't always want to, if it's a rainy day, want to go somewhere to some store and actually buy something for myself. So maybe there is another way, right? And in the 90s, what happened, there was a little bit of the shift to the new way of communicating with the businesses. And this was the actually the phone calls. By the way, can you see my slides all right?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So then this were the phone calls. And the idea here was that now you don't have to go right away to this shop or to the restaurant to buy something. You can just call in and get your pizza delivered to your house. You already know that you love this pepperoni pizza with extra cheese or something, so you don't have to go to the restaurant and wait in line, etc. You can just pick up the phone, call in, and have the pizza delivered right to your house. Really easy, really efficient. And for the business as well, it was a bit more efficient since they don't have to be limited to the place of their retail store to fit everyone in, or their restaurant, so they can actually do and get the orders by phone. So all they really need is more people to answer the phones faster and faster. Right, so this was this shift of communication that happened and made everyone hopefully a bit more happy and a bit more mobile. But then when you're thinking about the phone communication, we think that over phone, you cannot really show all of the benefits of your products. You cannot hold your client for too much time to get them interested in the product, etc. And people want to get some visuals. And in the early 90s, as we all know, there was a big new technology coming to all of us that we use every day now, and this was the World Wide Web. So in the early 2000s, it became a big kind of norm for every business to communicate with their clients through the website. So now, as the business, I can actually create this web page with all of my products that I sell, or like, again, some restaurant with all of the dishes that I sell. And as the user, I can easily go to that website, look at this microwave oven or all of that characteristics, and choose from the whole variety of products that they have out there. I don't have to leave my house. I can actually show pictures. I can actually see pictures. I can actually see all of the characteristics. I have enough time before I go to sleep to go through all of that stuff and actually choose the right product for me, right? And as the business now, I can present much more information to our clients. I can play a bit more to convince the clients to buy my products. I can also ask them for email address to communicate with them more. Maybe you want to get some coupons, etc., etc. So that's how this new era of communication between businesses and customers we're building, right? And as you might know, it's kind of lasted for a while, and then a new shift was happening, right? So now people are thinking that, hey, why do I really want to do all of that from my desktop when there is an app for that, as Steve Jobs once said, right? So the mobile phone era became a new normal. So everyone is on their mobile phones in their pocket. They are scrolling because of this GIF, right? And now, in order to be closer to the customers and build this communication with the customers, businesses started to actually develop more of the apps, right, to make it easy to get to their customers whenever they need them, right? And then as the customer, even if I'm in the taxi now, I can, it struck me that, hey, I need to buy that microwave oven again, right? So I can just open the phone, or maybe download some app, go through the choices, and in a couple of taps, actually I get this order done, very convenient, no need to go back home and turn on the whole computer, right? So that's what was happening in this 2010s. And I think that this made a major shift of this behavioral changes in the communication between the customers and the businesses. But now, when you think about the apps nowadays, there are really a lot of new apps that are going to the market every single day. New businesses want to have their apps published on App Store and Android devices. But what happens is that people are getting more and more resistant, and they don't really want to download new apps anymore, right? When you think about your apps on your phone, right, you might have the apps that you didn't even know you have, right? You download them someday and then you forgot about them, right? You don't want to download new apps and register every single time, create new passwords, share your information every time, learn this new information every time. So there is a new shift happening where users, like people, are just using apps that they are used to, right? And do not download more and more apps, which is a kind of bad sign for apps in general. And when you think about that, what can be this next big thing, right? What is the 2020s will bring us, and what should be this new way of communication between the customers and the businesses? And when you see again on these trends and the apps, there is one thing that you might notice, is that there is one category of the apps that is having the engagement rate through the roof. So they keep growing, they keep getting new registrations, and people are getting back to them every single day. And I'm sure that the majority of people who are listening to me today on this call and in general have some of these apps installed. And these apps, of course, are the messengers, right? When you think about the messengers, there are 4 billion monthly active users. So every month there are 4 billion people using this app, right? And those are just 3 most popular messaging apps, like the WhatsApp, which is actually really popular nowadays among the world, and especially in the region, the Facebook Messenger and the WeChat, right? Just 3 of those apps have 4 billion monthly active users. And again, the majority of us, or 95% of us at least, uses these apps at least once a day, right? So we use these apps to chat with our friends. Now we build even personal relationships like via these apps. There was even the study that said that we actually chat through the chat interface more than we speak, right? Which is kind of the totally phenomenal thing to happen right now. And the interesting thing is that, for example, WhatsApp is becoming such a big thing and such a big app for everyday users that, for example, in United Emirates, it is the second most trusted brand amongst all of the companies in the Emirates, by a recent study that I read. And it is the second one right after the Emirates Airlines, of course. So these apps are becoming really popular. People are getting used to it. People use them every day. So as you might expect, people are getting more and more interested in getting the conversations, not only with the personal friends and family, but also with businesses through these apps, right? So the numbers here are that the 66% of consumers prefer to communicate with brands using these messaging apps, right? So they're not only using them for the personal communication anymore, but also, since they're using them every day, why do I need to download some app or go to some website, right? If I just can, again, chat, send some message to this business and ask the question, right? So this is what are the expectations right now. And the second important fact is that 85% of the consumers around the world expect immediate answer to their questions nowadays. So it's not enough anymore to just provide a good customer experience by answering the phone or having some posts on Facebook, etc., or your website, or live chat on the website. People are expecting actually getting the answers to their questions right away. Everything is becoming instant today. You have Instagram, Instacart, so people are not willing to wait anymore. They want their answers now. So with these 2 facts, what comes to the conclusion is that if the business does not have the social media presence or the presence on these most popular messaging channels, does not have the live chat, does not have the chat experience, and does not provide the immediate answers to the questions, that means that the business is providing users with the bad customer experience, the bad customer service, which is not good, as you might assume, and which actually causes big losses in the revenues, and businesses actually lose money. For as an example, in the USA only, businesses are losing $1.6 trillion, right? Because of the users that are switching brands because of the poor customer service. And there are so many of these requests, like, I want to cancel my order. Can I add one more thing to my order? Do you have the table available for 5, right? So businesses they can't handle that many orders that many questions at the same time. They cannot just keep hiring more and more people, because websites can bring so many people, like an unlimited number of people to your website or to your channels of communications, but you have still limited amount of customer support reps to answer all of those requests, sales reps to answer all of those requests. So that's how this relationship that we're talking about are being kind of broken, because people are trying to share something, people are trying to get the insights, the customers want something from you, some information, and you're not responding, or you're not responding on time. And this communication kind of is being harmed a lot. And one of the interesting numbers as well is that 30% of the customers are actually willing to switch a brand in case of having just one single incident of a bad customer service. So that's where the story kind of comes to this problem that we're having right now. And of course, the solution that kind of I am offering here to everyone is to hire the omnichannel assistant or a chatbot, right? So as simple as that. The chatbot, as you already know, this is the system that helps people to get questions that are to get answers to their questions immediately, right? This is the hiree that live in the channels where your clients are at, where the consumers love. Everyone is chatting in these messengers every day again. It can live on Facebook Messenger, it can live on WhatsApp, it can live on your website. It can be the same guy that communicates with all of your customers at the same time, 24/7, and building this personal relationship for you, so customers don't have to wait, and they know that they'll get their questions answered, right? And now back to your point, that there are many people that are a bit skeptical still about chatbots, right? And I think it kind of makes sense since there were many incidents in the chatbot industry where you could see this "sorry, I didn't get it" kind of stuff. So you want to be immediately redirected to customer support department. But during the last 5 years, things has changed dramatically, right? All of the big guys, big kind of companies like Facebook, Google, IBM, all of the kind of brightest minds, the smartest teams, the greatest talents around the world in the tech space, in the AI space, we're working on improving this conversational AI, improving the NLP, like natural language processing, improving the understanding of natural language. And now what happened is that it became much more easy to use this technology that were built already for us in order to provide our clients with a better user experience and build this communication with our clients, make them personal at scale, right? So you don't have to hire, as a business, you don't have to hire the whole expensive AI experts team for 2 years that would work on creating this chatbot, right? Because all of the heavy lifting was done already, and good chatbot technologies are on the market already that allow us to build chatbots much faster. At the same time, there are even types of interface that helps us to build the chatbot without a single line of code, right? So there are easy to use UI abilities that will help companies to build the chatbots without even the development team, right? So you can start really simple just by using these tools. And another thing that happened is that since these technologies have improved with time, and bigger companies are using them in order to have better chatbots and bring these better experiences, now the users are getting as well much more kind of easygoing and open to the chatbots, right? Right now, people do trust chatbots much more, right? They like 60%, I think, of users are open to share the personal data with the chatbots, and 47% of consumers are actually open to buying things through chatbot, so sharing their card details. So the trust to the chatbots is growing over the years, and you can see that kind of dramatically in the numbers as well here. And not only it shows that the adoption is better, at the same time, businesses are actually getting value from it, right? So for example, only in 2019, only the banking industry in the US saved $127 million just purely by automation using chatbots. So we're not talking about the potential benefits that they get or new sales because of the good customer experience that they bring to the table because of answering the questions right away, but just by automating the time that their customer support department were spending before on answering these repetitive questions, they saved $127 million in 2019. So that's quite a kind of good numbers, and it brings all of us some hope and proves that chatbots are actually at this stage already where they are ready to go public, right? Ready to be much more active, and for more businesses to adopt this technology, since they prove to be cutting the costs, and they prove to be kind of much more user-friendly and know much more because of all of these tech giants working on improving this conversational AI technology. So the next question that probably we should all be wondering about is, now what? So how do we start? What can we do about this? And the simple kind of guide about how to start benefiting from chatbots is you should do that step by step, right? And you should not give really high expectations right away to what the chatbot can do and can be kind of pass the Turing tests or something, right? So the first thing you need to do is really analyze the business that you're having and see what are these parts of the business that potentially I can automate, that potentially will bring me the most of the value. And when you look at this image that is on the right of the slide, you can see these lines and the dots. So if you visualize all of the conversations that are happening within your business with your customers or internal communications, right? These communications are represented by these dots, let's say, right? And these bigger dots, that mean that these conversations are repeating much more often, right? So that means that while analyzing your existing conversations, you want to concentrate on those conversations that are most repetitive, right? The questions that you get the most often to your customer support, right? In this scenario, you'll be able to really outline the right strategy of automation, because the interesting thing that works in conversational AI space is that the very famous rule of 20-80, it actually works, because like 20% of the questions typically automate 80% of all of the requests to customer support department, right? So that's why you should really focus on getting that analysis right. If you do that right, that's kind of one of the biggest part of this success of the chatbot. The next thing you want to do, of course, is to make sure that you know who is your audience and where they expect you to be. Where do they try to communicate with you? If it's a WhatsApp chatbot, if they're all on the website and chatting with you with the live chat, then you should place the chatbot there, right? To make sure that the chatbots live in the channels where your clients are expecting them the most. And as well, of course, you want to make sure that the chatbots speak as well the kind of the languages that your customers are speaking as well. The next step, after you have done the full analysis, you understand who is your audience, what are these most repetitive conversations, what are the channels, what is your existing customer support set of tools that you are using. You have to make sure you can integrate with this existing tools, right? So you don't build everything from scratch. Then you can actually start the automation process. And the typical strategy of creating a chatbot would look something like that. So the first step in order to build the value to your customers is to understand that you have to build a chatbot that would solve one kind of problem at the time, one business problem at the time. So typically it might look something like this slide that you can see right now. So first thing you want to solve is the 24/7 availability, right? So it can be a very simple button-based button-based chatbot, cross-channel, right? That was designed in order to make it easier for the user to find the right information 24/7 using both.
So one thing that we might need to do is to wrap it, and maybe even to go into very like briefly mention what should the participants who are like listening, attendees who are listening, should look for in building chatbots into their businesses. Like, what are the 2 steps that they need to take tomorrow in order to engage and communicate better with their customers and clients?
Sure, great question. Oh, it was 30 minutes actually.
Yep.
That was sorry about that. So
no problem.
I think that the 2 main steps would be, first, analyze what are the most common questions that are being asked to your customer support department right now, and how you're doing that customer support today in order to understand actually what to automate first. So that's the one and the most important thing to do. And then again, if you have that ready, the analysis ready, what you can do actually is to look for the right tools for you to solve that one problem at a time. So instead of investing again, the whole thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to build some complicated solution, you can start with a very simple solution that solve, for example, 24% availability, get the feedback from the users, and then solve another problem, cost savings for the customer support reps. Solve that problem, get the feedbacks, then have another solution. So do that with the iterations and ask for feedback as often as possible, since this is a new technology, and you have to be sure that your customers are ready to adopt it.
I think I had no belief in two technologies before COVID. I thought they were redundant, useless, and should just disappear. One was QR technology. And now we have seen how important it is when you go somewhere, you don't want to touch anything, you just QR it.
Yep.
And the other one is chatbots. I never believed chatbots will actually make any sense in complicated conversations unless it was built by somebody who spent $1 million building a very effective tool. Like solving 24% was never enough for me to be an adapter of chatbot technologies in the companies that I invested or helped. But now the more I see is, one, I think the computing power has increased. The machines, not the machine learning, but the people who are training the machines to learn became more focused on solving certain problems. The data sets became more abundant. And now I actually see the re-emergence of those two technologies as things that we will keep on using going forward. Simple QR technology, simple chatbots will be everywhere because people do not want to engage with other humans on a proxy level at the moment. So
that's exactly right. And I think you're really correct here, is that the industry learned that you have to be really specific on the problems that you're solving with this chatbot, so you don't get your users frustrated. So now the users at the same time, they are ready to understand that if I want to solve these problems, I can go to the chatbot, and I know that it will help me with that at least, right? And that's how the learning process is happening.
I agree. And if anybody is more interested, please reach out to Max. It was really great to see Seinfeld. I mean, that's kind of my age. I'm happy that other people are also liking it. So thank you so much.
Thank you.